Good morning. I'd like to start with a few quotations. The first one is from Emma Gray, recently writing in the Huffington Post. Guns may not kill people on their own, but disaffected men with easy access to guns and little understanding of how to safely express their frustrations with the world certainly do. The next one is from Douglas Keller, professor of education at UCLA. The school shooters and domestic terrorists all exhibit male rage. They attempt to resolve a crisis of masculinity through violent behavior and demonstrate a fetish for guns or weapons and represent a situation of guys and guns run amok. Bushmaster, which sells the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, just finished a 2-year ad campaign that coincided with the Sandy Hook massacre. The ad pictured an AR-15 and it declared, quote, "Consider your man card reissued." One provision for keeping your card was to be able to stare down a tough 5th grader. I'm not making this up. Adam Lanza started with shooting 1st graders with his mother's AR-15. But there's nothing in Bushmaster's list of manly qualities that disqualified him. Your card can be revoked if you are a crybaby, a cupcake, don't know really what that means, or on a short leash. I know what that means. But there's no mention of cowardly mass killings with an AR-15. Denmark's gun death rate of 1.45 per 100,000 stands in stark contrast to the US rate of 10.2. But that's a small price to pay for the freedom to pack heat. For every Dane who kills himself with a gun, there are 6 Americans who go out in glory with their handy firearms. Bushmaster's short leash must mean the proverbial wifely tether. Well, here I must plead guilty. When we settled into our new home in Moscow in 1972, I brought out my .30-06 to show my new Danish bride. She was not impressed. She told me in no uncertain terms that it was either her or the gun. I chose her and a safe home for our wonderful daughter. Homes with guns have far higher child deaths. Armed homes are not safe for women either. A study by the American Journal of Public Health concluded that women were 8 times more likely to be killed in the home by armed, abusive men. The NRA uses the example of Switzerland, which is 4th in the world for gun ownership, not too far behind Finland. In 2007, for every 100 Swiss, 46 owned a gun. But Americans were highest, with 89 guns per 100 residents. Why is the gun death rate so low for the Swiss, 3.84 per 100,000, but so high for Americans? Remember, that was 10.2 per 100,000. Only some violent Latin American countries have higher gun death rates than we do. Maybe it's the effeminate lederhosen that allowed the Swiss from killing each other less frequently. The Aussies' low gun death rate, 1.25 per 100,000, is no doubt down due to feminizing everything, from waist tidies to Barbies. A real man would say garbage can or grillin'. Does having Mounties to enforce the law lead to lower gun death rates in Canada? 1.25 per 100,000. Scotland, however, has the lowest rate in the world, 0.25 gun death rates per 100,000. So it must be those kilts with no underpants, right? No doubt a Braveheart mooning is much more humiliating than being threatened with an AR-15. That's a great scene in that movie, isn't it? I agree with the NRA that video games where the player is pulling the trigger are symptoms of a society that has not nurtured its people, especially its young men, properly. Dysfunctional families, especially those with absent fathers, have given us a generation of far too many disaffected and alienated youth. Every 3 hours in our country, a child is killed with a gun. Wake up, America. Come to your senses. This madness must stop. Thank you.